Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, this is G. You're watching Allastrology. Pisces, this is your May 2023. We've got a few things to go over. Three things. Three things. There might be more than three. And I'm going to try to stay focused on the three for you, Pisces. All right. The month begins with an eclipse. Yes, another eclipse. Here it is. It's May and we got another eclipse. What I like about this eclipse is that it's in water. Right. And that's important because you are a water sign. So it trines you. It's like, yay, we got this trine energy happening. So that's a beautiful thing. It can be very beneficial for Scorpio energy. Okay. Now, this eclipse, I said it's going to be beneficial for Scorpio. The eclipse is in Scorpio. So this is very beneficial. I'm sorry, I don't know what the hell's going on with the lighting. It's bizarre. Today's been a really weird day with lighting. You're Pisces, but the eclipse being in Scorpio is beneficial for you because it trines you. And we also will have Mars still in a water sign, in the sign of Cancer. So you see, we've got Scorpio eclipse, we've got Mars over there hanging out in Cancer, and then we've got you, Pisces. So what I just described is a trine. It really is, because we've got Cancer and Scorpio and Pisces, something happening in each of those. Okay, each of the water signs. Yeah, Taffy's in here, but she's stuck with me until I'm done recording. At least this video. So, an eclipse in Scorpio, I have to go over a little bit here. We got to talk about Mars and we got to talk about Pluto because then that tells us what the hell the Scorpio stuff is, what's happening, right? So I'm just going to go over those real quick because I've talked about them 1,000 times, but we know Mars is our impulses. Mars is, can be assertive, can be even aggressive at times, right? And it's Scorpio, so it's usually can be combative even, right? And Pluto is there as a co-ruler, so it can even be like intense, right? And stuff that's from the past because it's Pluto. It's stuff that's from the past. This is like our soul energy, even soul power, but it's water. So it carries history, it carries memory. It carries history and it carries memory. Scorpio tends to be considered tragic. You hear, especially the younger generation, oh, that's tragic. But they're saying it like it's a really good thing when they say it, I think. Anyhow, this whole not this generation, but these last 5 years, and even now, Pluto is so much in the words that we use. When people say, he's killing it, she's killing it, that's Pluto. It's all Pluto and it's all Mars. It's like killing it, but they're saying it like it's a good thing. Remember back in the day when somebody would use the word killing, it was not considered a good thing. It would be like, how can that possibly be good? That doesn't sound good. You've just killed something or someone. That's not good, right? But now we talk about it like killing it and just like these really aggressive words, these really intense words. And that's Pluto energy, right? And Pluto is the ruler of Scorpio. So it's like, it kind of tells us the flavoring of this eclipse. If it's releasing the past, it's intense, it's buried, it's deep, it can be tragic. It could have been stuff that happened a long time ago, likely. And so we talk about it as wounds from the past, okay? And many times this can be energy that you are carrying from other lifetimes, okay, Pisces? And it's time to let this stuff go. It's time to get rid of it. It's time to release it. And this kind of a release, because your water, is going to be very beneficial for you. Right? Remember I talked about that trine and how that release lines up and it's wonderful. It's beautiful. It's perfect for you. The degrees of the eclipse are 1458. So that's 15 degrees. Okay, 15 degrees and we're releasing something. Okay. And it's the release because of because it's a full moon eclipse. It's the moon. So it could involve family. It could involve a woman or feminine energy. It can involve like ancestral history, even our tribe and ancestors. It could involve that because that's all Scorpio. It's like inheritances. So maybe, there's tax money involved, or maybe it's just simply a wound, or maybe it's all of it. Maybe it's all of it. So for you, Pisces, this happens in your ninth house. Your ninth house. Your ninth house is your beliefs about these things. So you having Scorpio in your ninth, like, do you talk to God? Do you connect in with people on the other side, dead loved ones, right? Do you talk with guides or maybe even native people from, they may look very different, right? They could be ancestors from a long time ago, right? There could be a lot of that happening. This is old energy, but you got the psychic sign of Scorpio in your ninth house. I love this for you, Pisces. Having your Scorpio in your the ninth house is like, I get premonitions, or I just know things about the future, right? Like it's all about, I can understand the cycles and the patterns even of like the big picture of how things work, right? Like humanity and society and things going into the future. And it could be, of course, like law and the judicial system, like, all of that stuff. But think Jupiter. So it's like you've got Scorpio, which is Mars and Pluto, psychic, right? Pulling in an expansiveness, like really expanding, really being psychic, feeling things you probably don't want to feel, knowing things you may not want to know, because it's Jupiter. It's touching in the ninth house. That's Jupiter. So that says all these psychic Scorpio stuff and all this, like the wounds and the feelings and the emotions and the deep hidden stuff, it expands in the ninth house. It becomes bigger. So there may be times where you may feel like that you're exaggerating, right? Or other people may say you're exaggerating. You may be accused of, hey, you're blowing it all out of proportion. Like you might hear that. Somebody might say that. Either way, it's Jupiter energy because it's the ninth house. And so that can happen. All of the above can happen. Okay. Now, having a release here, beliefs. The beliefs about freedom, the beliefs about your future, the beliefs about, the judicial system and all that good stuff. But it's really aligned more with the past and the wounds of the past and releasing those wounds of the past and your beliefs about your wounds, your beliefs about shared energy, shared values, because it's Scorpio, right? Opposite of Taurus, shared values. Now, this is also going to affect your third house because opposite of Scorpio is Taurus. So at 1458, see if you have anything there. I have been guided very strongly in this video to make sure that we're all looking at our Taurus and our Scorpio energy for this eclipse. Every video I've been strongly guided. They're like, remind everybody to look at both houses. So the third house is how you talk, how you communicate. It's Taurus energy, but there's also something going on there because we have Mercury doing a retrograde, and it's still doing a retrograde in May, and it finishes up the retrograde during May, but it's still in the shadow zone. So you have been thinking and reevaluating possibly the ways that you communicate, the things that you learn about, right? How you learn, how you share data, how you share information, how you share news, but it's what I value and it's who I value. Okay. And so learning, you value learning, right? Because you've got Taurus in your third house. I value learning. Taurus is my values. And here's the thing. This may have, think about this now. Taurus is how we value ourselves. How you think about how you value yourself. Now, I'll be honest with you, and I'm a Taurus, so I understand this. Taurus is not the quickest when it comes to the mind and the thinking. It usually takes a lot of repetition, a lot of going over before it gets something, okay? And that's only because, think of the bull in the pasture, right? It's just kind of sitting there and it's comfortable and it doesn't move fast. The only time the bull moves fast is when it charges. Think about that. That's the only time it moves fast. So it's almost like it has to get angered, to get to charge and to move. So it has to become uncomfortable, right? So what happens? How does it get triggered to work better and to operate? Well, over time, over the repetition, and yes, it may take longer for some of you and maybe not as long for some of you, but over time, you will learn something. Okay. And when you learn it, you got it. You're locked in, right? So it might take a long time, but once you got it, right? And that's because it's Taurus in the house of Mercury. But let's be clear. Mercury and Taurus have a lot in common. I know it seems crazy. How could that possibly be? Well, Mercury is known as the messenger of the gods. Taurus is known to be, it rules the spoken word. And so when we're speaking the spoken word, we're communicating, we're sharing, right? Taurus also is known to have like great pipes, a great vocalist, right? Mercury is about sharing information, right? It's collecting the data and the details, though, but they have some similarities there, right? So I have a video series. It's only like 2 videos long about the Mercury retrograde. I will probably link that below. I pray to God. And if it's not down there, remind me in the comments. Say, gee, can you link that so I can watch it? Because it talks in depth about the Mercury retrograde in the sign of Taurus and how that likely will work. So being in your third house is, let's think of the people, siblings, neighbors, coworkers, peers. It's business. It's business and trade. Can be like even the stock market, right? It's the merchant. It's like having a local business, because that's the third house. My business is local, or I go shopping at the local businesses. I talk to the merchants, and it's transportation. It's local transportation. And Mercury there, some of you might be like, I'm thinking of buying a car, because it's Mercury in your third house of thinking. Third house, car, local neighborhood, go to the local dealerships, or however that works. Or maybe it's online now. I don't know. And I've never, ever enjoyed buying an automobile. So I would do anything that made the experience just less, because it's one of my most undesirable things. But Mercury's thinking. Now, Gemini is also like my community. So this is like the housing market as well. Like that Gemini and Cancer energy touches in there. So if you're going over your values and banking, Taurus in your third, and keeping track of the money, you might be looking over some things, maybe options, choices. Maybe you're going to make some decisions. Wait until after May. Don't do anything like signing on the dotted line. Okay, I think we're back on now. Don't make any major decisions until you're at the butt end of May, because that's when Mercury will finally clear its retrograde zone. Okay, and that's important. Having that cleared up is really going to be important. Let me check my audio real quick, since Taffy's in the room. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, okay, we're good. So the other thing I want to mention now is the 19th, May 19th, we have a new moon, and it's a new moon in Taurus, which is, I love this. It's a new moon in Taurus energy. So lots going on in your third house. Your third house. You're thinking about business. I have a friend I'm thinking about, and she might be starting a new business, right? Maybe selling a business even, because we're thinking about what we value. We're thinking about our assets. We're thinking about money in the bank. We're thinking about, do I like my bank? Should I change banks? Right? All the craziness with the banks, right? So we're really kind of going over the books with Mercury in the third house. It's really strong here, Mercury in the third house. So you might realize that there are concepts and things that you're grasping possibly a little bit better than usual, because Mercury's at home in the third house, right? You may have other things in your chart that either enhance that or take away from it. If you don't know and you want to know, comment to me below. I will help you figure that out, and I will do whatever I can to help you out. So this is a new moon now, though. Let's get back to that. The new moon. So this is the third thing we're talking about, the new moon. Mercury retrograde was the second. The third thing is the Taurus new moon. A big new moon, because it's Taurus. It's about our values. It's about our income. Your third house. What do you value? Who do you value? This could be relationships, right? The people, coworkers. This is neighbors, next door neighbors, the business and the merchants, peers, right? It's also sales and selling. Sales and selling. Third house is also social media. So this can be the vlogger, the blogger, right? It's social media. Maybe some of you don't have a website. Maybe you're like, oh, I want to put up a website. There could be some of that happening. This would be that whole thing. Okay. New moon, new beginning, on the 19th at 28 degrees and 25 minutes. So this is a very mature Taurus energy. It more than likely has a lot to do with business because it's at 28 degrees. Think about Taurus and money on a high level. It would be like business and possibly government. It could have to do with you expanding, like if you are a business owner, or possibly just reconsidering your values and any joint venture. Like I said, talking about sales and selling, possibly selling a business, selling homes even. This is Taurus energy on that big level. Okay. And so when we go even higher on that big level, it becomes more about the earth. It becomes more about things that we're really thinking long term. We're really thinking, what do I need for my long term security, right? It's Taurus energy. So it's my creature comforts, my desires. And so it's really it's really honing in on that. And it's, we've got like the rubber hitting the cement here, right? We've had it for February, March, and now April, definitely April, and then May with this Taurus new moon. So the new moon time is 10:53 a.m. For those of you that do and set your intentions, whether you write it or speak it, do what you do, but make sure that it's something that's going to be good for you, and make sure that you value you and that you're included in some way in this intention. That's going to be super important for Pisces because typically they end up sacrificing so much. They're so used to sacrificing. They're so used to doing for others. Okay. So make sure you're included in this intention, Pisces, and that you're doing something that will make you prove to yourself that you are worthy and that you are valuable. Okay. So that's it, Pisces. Have an excellent May 2023. You got any questions? Remember, you comment below and I'll help you out in any way I can. I see you in the next video. Bye-bye. Below the video, I'll have all the degrees for those of you who like to pay attention to the degrees in your chart. Again, if you don't know and you want to know, just comment below.